In this video, we are going to share with you a list of some of the best new Blender tutorials ranging from geometry nodes, modeling, procedural textures, and more. Now without further ado, let's get started. This video is brought to you by Learn to Make Looping Animations, a Blender course that teaches you to create 4 high-quality looping animations step by step. Check it up in the link below. Iconic Shield Modeling Tutorial by Introvert. This tutorial will teach you how to model Bone Shield of Diablo in Blender. This tutorial will go through the different stages that you need when creating each model. You will learn the phases of creating a 3D model and all the tools that you need to create a model in Blender 3D. You will also learn how to use Blender Sculpting Mode and its most important brushes. You will also use various essential free Blender add-ons and different useful Blender functions and modifiers. And by the end of it, you will have a beautiful bone shield model created in Blender 3D. How I created the Sci-Fi nest design in Geometry Nodes by Ducky3D. Geometry nodes are one of the newest and best Blender features, and this tutorial is a breakdown of how Ducky3D created this geometry node design in Blender. After watching this tutorial, you are going to get all the knowledge needed to create this scene or make something similar to it using Blender geometry nodes. Procedural Solar Panel Material by Ryan King Art. In this tutorial, Ryan is going to teach you how to use Blender shader nodes to create a procedural solar panel material. Ryan goes on explaining every node used to create the material, so the knowledge you will get is not only for creating the solar panel material, but you can also use it to make different kinds of procedural materials in Blender. How to make Eevee more realistic. This is another tutorial by Ryan King Art, in which he will teach you how to make your Eevee renders more realistic by explaining how you should change the parameters of ambient occlusion, screen space refraction, bloom, add samples, shadow settings, contact shadows, color management, and light baking. By the end of this tutorial, you will have the knowledge needed to improve your Eevee renders and make them look much more beautiful and realistic. Closed Simulation Tutorial in Blender 3.2 by Fattu Tutorials. There are not a lot of Blender tutorials when it comes to closed simulation when compared to other types of simulation or other parts of the 3D creation pipeline. In this tutorial, the instructor will teach you how to use Blender Closed Simulation System to create this satisfying closed simulation. By the end of this tutorial, you will have the knowledge needed to create high-quality closed simulation in Blender 3.2. Create a Sci-Fi Artwork by Rescan. In this tutorial, the instructor will teach you how to create a space scene with the planets, spaceship, and meteorites in Blender. By the end of this tutorial, you will have the knowledge needed to create a planet and a high-quality texture for it, and further adjust the texture with Blender shader nodes. Also, you will learn how to model a spaceship and a bunch of meteorites. Also, by the end, the instructor will further teach you how to post-process your render with Photoshop to make it more beautiful. Fully UV Unwrapped Deck of Cards in 5 minutes by Alexandre Albisser. In this tutorial, Alexandre will teach you his method to quickly create a fully unwrapped deck of cards with minimal UV unwrap. This method will reduce the time spent UV unwrapping by using the UV offset feature of an array modifier to quickly produce 56 cards. Alexandre will go through an overview of the method, then the card model, topology optimization, thickness and material assignment, the front material creation, UV unwrapping, creating the back materials, adding bump, using array modifiers and UV offsets, and lastly trying to achieve a more organic look. Better tiling textures in Blender by Entagma. Even if you have a perfect tileable texture with seamless borders, you often run into problems when tiling the same texture, often to cover a large area. If your texture happens to be irregular, you might want to give this tiling trick by Entagma a try. The method consists of building better tiles in the first place, and then you are going to learn how to properly rotate, scale, and unwrap your tiles, and also how to create random rotation to make the repetition less apparent. By the end of this video, the instructor will compare the regular method of tiling and his method, and the result is so clear. Realistic Explosion Effects in Blender by Granite Films. In this tutorial, you are going to learn how to create this explosion effect in Blender. The instructor will teach you how to create the emitter for the smoke, then how to adjust the parameters of the smoke simulation. Then you will start to shade the object and add colors to it. By the end of this tutorial, you will learn how to create really cool smoke simulations and explosion effects. Geometry Nodes is Amazing by Kaizen Tutorials. In this tutorial, the instructor will teach you how to create a realistic aurora or polar lights in Blender using geometry nodes, volumetric lighting, and HDRI tricks. The instructor will teach you about creating curves with geometry nodes, then how to animate those curves to make them behave like polar lights. Then he will teach you how to convert the curve into meshes. Then you will start setting up the environment and creating the volumetric light shader. And the last part is where you will finalize your scene and render the result. By the end of this tutorial, you will have a highly realistic aurora scene that is created using Blender geometry nodes. The easy way to optimize Blender by Decoded. In this video, the instructor will teach you a few simple techniques to optimize Blender for fast render speeds. And hopefully by the end of it, you will be able to reduce your render speed after you apply these simple methods. I hope you guys liked this tutorial list, and I hope you will watch those tutorials and get some Blender knowledge from them. That's it for this video. Tell me in the comments below what do you think about these tutorials. Make sure to subscribe for more videos like this one. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.